the resource to provide? Absolutely not. Adultery, actually, if you go through the Bible, there's laws for men having multiple wives in the Bible. Adultery did not apply to a man having sex with an unmarried woman. It was a woman who was married having sex with a man that's not her husband is considered adultery. But there are rules for men having multiple wives in the Bible. Again, definitions are important. Context is important. So if you're trying to make that equal, it just doesn't equal out when you read the whole Bible. But the fact is, if a man doesn't have the resources and you create a family with him, what I don't agree with is breaking up your family to try to find a better man to play second place to a child. That's crazy to me. That's absolutely crazy to me. It says facts. If he does not have it, he will call a woman a gold digger. Yeah, that's the kind of men you see calling women gold diggers. Now, there are some gold diggers, some real gold diggers, but I'm talking about the women who want a man who has resources so that the family's okay. There's nothing wrong with that woman. She is not a gold digger. That is a responsible woman who is looking out for the best interest of her future child and herself, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. However, the agreement is if you want that man's resources and that man has more than average resources, it's going to come with some things. And women don't like to hear this, but the fact is, it's not bashing women to tell you the truth about what men expect. So if you expect men at a certain level, like a man who can provide and do all this stuff at a certain level to where you don't have to work, you have to expect what comes with it. He's likely going to have more than one woman. And that's the facts. You don't have to like it. But then that means you also have the option. You don't have to go after a man with that much resources if you don't like that. You can always go after a man with fewer resources and fewer options than women. Only about 20% of men do that. Once again, 80% of women. Why do you keep ignoring? See, Tiffany is a perfect example. She keeps ignoring all the women. She ignores the 80% of women to talk about the 20% of men that do it. What about those 80% of women? They're the problem. Because see, the minority, you're never going to stop a minority of people from doing stuff. But when the majority is overwhelmingly one gender, well, don't go for a provider. That's the thing that y'all keep missing. Don't go up for a provider if you don't want what comes along with some of the providers. That's the facts. If a man is we're telling you up front, she can't expect him to have self-control. It ain't self-control. It's human nature. Men have always had multiple women. Once again, it's the audacity of modern women to ask for men of a higher status to be monogamous. Most women who wanted monogamy understood that if they want monogamy, they go down a level in income with the man. I don't understand why this is so hard to figure out. Because men that have money will tell you up front, you're not getting monogamy. Most of them will tell you up front, you're not getting monogamy. If you don't like it, go find a man that wants to give you monogamy. Simple as that. And maybe he hasn't. That would be an exception to the rule. And we know exceptions to the rule exist. But you're one person out of millions of people we're talking about here in the United States. We're not talking about the whole world. Trust me, I know there's billions of people in the world. But you're one out of millions we're talking about in the United States. RJ McKenzie about to come up. There it goes right there. Even the father understood this. Because Jacob wanted Rachel but had to marry Leah by law as the oldest daughter. If you go to your Bible, Laban understood. Laban didn't trip on Jacob for cheating. Laban knew Jacob wanted Rachel, but he said, here, you got to take Leah. And if you do the math, go check out the timeline I put together for you guys. If you do the math, Jacob and Leah were having sex and kids while he was still working to marry Rachel. And after they got married, both of them gave Bilhah and Zilpah to Jacob to have kids with. All this stuff about monogamy wasn't even a thing in the past. And you can read your own Bible and see it. Solomon had 700 wives, 300 concubines. I believe David had 70 wives. You had Jacob with the 4. You have other men all throughout the Bible. Quick question. How many women did Abraham have? How many children did Abraham have? See, this is the thing. So I'm assuming you've dated most men. No, the men you're talking about will lie, which means you haven't been up to the certain levels of men where men have enough money to say, I'm going to do what I want to. You either get on board or keep it pushing. See, you haven't met those type of men. So you can't say that most men will lie. And we also know that most women love lies. We know this. Yeah, I did. A little bit rogue, a little bit left. But we know that most women love lies. Once again, I give you the examples of Yada, the woman beater, Derek Jackson, the adulterer, Steve Harvey, the one that turned his side chick mistress into his 4th wife after he divorced his 3rd. Women like them lies.